Okay, good morning, everyone. We are going to do a slide presentation about our trip to Cherryfield, Maine. This is all the folks who went on the trip. I just want to say a special thank you to Andrew for coming all the way from college to come be with us. He was on the trip as well. Casey couldn't be with us. She's down at Regis, but she's thinking of us. So we're going to tell you about our trip. Let me just make sure, who has the microphone? You're all set. Okay.
When it's better for everyone, it's better for everyone.
So while we were up in Cherryfield, Maine, we stayed at the First Congregational Church of Cherryfield, Maine, and we stayed in the basement. They were very nice to let us stay there. So when we got there, it was like a dining room. There was a kitchen, and we had to move some stuff around to make room for our sleeping quarters. And like we kind of all split up in a way. The first years for the mission trip kind of made our own little area, while the adults and seniors were just kind of over with the adults, and it was kind of split for a while. We would horse around sometimes, and there was quite some different changes from person to person. Some people liked it a bit more colorful, and And so some people would just stay asleep, and some people would wake up early and get some stretching, get yoga out. And it was nice, just down there. We all cooked dinner sometimes. Some people just kind of watched.
Okay, so the Maine Seacoast Mission website for their housing rehabilitation states that everyone deserves to live in a warm, safe home. But houses and mobile homes in Washington County are often old and hard to heat, especially on a limited budget. And what the Maine Seacoast Mission tries to do is to rehabilitate and rebuild these homes so that the people who live in them will have an easier time making it through the harsh Maine winters.
Okay, so that was the program that we were working with, Maine Seacoast Mission Housing Rehabilitation Program.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Gandhi. So our first day, we were there, or our second day actually, our first day of service, we traveled over to Harrington, and we started stacking 6 cords of wood for Terry and Dottie, 2 people that lived kind of off the grid and used this wood to heat their house for the entire year. And what we would do is we used the pickup truck to put the wood in, and then we would drive 20 feet over and start stacking it. And it was tedious, but it was definitely worth it to see the joy and appreciation on Terry and Dottie's faces. Yeah.
It was a lot of work. Okay,
that happened.
We have a little story to tell you about that.
So while we were stacking
We're gonna tell the story in song form.
Oh, in song form, all right.
Okay? Okay, does everybody have... Werner, will you turn off my microphone right now, please? the story. I am fine. Okay.
Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So while most of the boys were working on the ramp at the animal center, the others worked at the Lamb House, which was situated right next to the church we were staying in. And the Lamb House was a temporary home for families in Cherryfield who have lost their houses to fires or other natural disasters. We painted the back side of the house with two coats of primer and 2 coats of finish. We managed to finish the entire back side and half of the other side of the house. It was very rewarding once we were done, and Maine Seacoast Mission was very appreciative of our work there.
The most important service to others is service to those who are not like yourself.
The Ark Animal Shelter sheltered cats and dogs in Cherryfield, Maine. There were 2 buildings. One is where the offices were, and the other holds the dogs. The pathway in between made it difficult for the staff to transport the dogs from one building to the other, especially in the winter when it would get icy because it didn't drain very well. So we made a ramp that had good drainage with the railing, so it would be easier for them to walk in between the buildings without worrying about slipping.
Happiness consists in giving and in serving others.
Jackson, all the way down.
So the car ride up there was pretty chill. It was the only time we were able to have our phones. It was like a 5-hour drive. Some of us just slept or listened to music. One of the days we went to Jasper Beach. It was like all rocks there. The water was decently warm, so some of us went in for a swim. And there was like a little cliff that some of us tried to go up on.
And the safety officer rightly prevented you from jumping off.
And we collected some rocks. There's some pretty cool rocks there. Then one of the days, the last day there, we went to Bar Harbor. We hiked up one of the mountains there. Then afterwards, we went for a lobster dinner. The hike was pretty cool. It was kind of cloudy out, but it was still a pretty cool hike. The dinner was pretty nice afterwards.
What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others in the world remains and is immortal.
You wanted to talk about the dogs?
Yeah, so we didn't really have a slide for this because we couldn't really take pictures of the dogs because we didn't have our phones. But
It was I tortured them the entire week.
The dogs are like one of my favorite parts of the trip. I would like to say that so at the Ark, I would like to say that we took a break like every hour, but it was more like every 5 minutes. But we just went to go look at the new puppies, and the puppies were from Florida, and they were mistreated down there because they have so many dogs down there, and they're super cramped together. So when they first arrived, they were super scared, and they were nervous to be around us. But by the end of the week, we were petting them, and they were wagging their tail and jumping around. So I thought that was really cool how we could make a connection with the dogs. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as it happened, we got there right when they had just received 30-something dogs, so there were a lot of them there. Thanks. Don't we have one more? Okay, this is just so everybody is aware of, besides going on the mission trip, these are some of the service opportunities that we did in the past year. Okay. And we just wanted to say a special thank you in particular to the Board of Mission and Outreach of the church that helped to subsidize the trip. And our adult mentors, Ann Stoops, Sean Ward, Peter Mulholland, and myself, who went on the trip, and Scott Shaw, who was the person at Maine Seacoast Mission who helped us to be organized and get all the projects done that we intended. So thank you, everybody. Okay, thanks you guys.